So thank you very much for that. So today we're going to have a couple of folks presenting for you. Obviously, myself, Jim Wood. I'm going to be touching on some of the initial basics and kind of how to go through an individual application on the new admin system. And then Megan Enerson is going to follow up on the second half and touch base with the small group information and a few other things that are key for efficiently using the new system. We do appreciate questions throughout the presentation. So if you look in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see a small chat box. We will do our best to answer those live as we go through the presentation. One of the things that we are doing is putting together most commonly asked question and answer sheet. And today is the last presentation we're doing on the JET Insure rollout from a broker training standpoint as far as a live webinar. We will be recording the webinars, and also we're going to be putting the most commonly asked Q&A questions out on the website under the broker portal. So that's something we did definitely want to share with you. So another thing to be aware of is that this is our third webinar, and everybody learns and follows differently. So one of the things that we've also done is Gabby Davies, who's our senior marketing specialist, has done a great job of putting together some step-by-step instructions and guides and training guides related to all of the functions that are going to be key for you to effectively operate on a new portal. Gabby is also joining us this morning. She's going to help progress the slides and kind of take us through the different functionalities that we're going to touch base with on the screen. So as I said before, please feel free to ask any questions as we go along in the chat box. We'll do our best to answer those as we go along. And again, this webinar will also be recorded, and today is the last presentation from a webinar standpoint. So we, after today, we will be putting this, the recordings also on the Common Ground website for brokers to go back and reference if they so choose. So any company that looks at putting together or bringing on a new administrative system, it's kind of a daunting task. There's a lot of research involved. One of the reasons that we're going forward with a new admin system, and we did pick JET Insure, is because as a company we're growing, we needed more capacity to better serve our members, to better serve you, the broker community. So you'll also see that as we go through this, there's some additional functionality that you're going to have available that you don't have available right now on the broker portal. And so JET Insure is used by a couple of other carriers out in the marketplace here in Eastern Wisconsin. A lot of you are probably familiar with those. And one thing to be aware of is that this is not an out-of-the-box administrative platform that we're putting together. We've spent a lot of time customizing this for our own use and hopefully elevating it so that from a functionality standpoint, it's going to be much more beneficial for you going forward, not only working with Common Ground, but also servicing your clients. So let's go to the next screen, Gabby. So here are the things we're going to touch base on today. We're going to have some live examples. One thing to keep in mind is that this is a test environment. So some things are going to populate, some things we're going to take you to and just kind of show you where to go to get them once this goes live. So let's just keep that in mind. So we're going to touch base on logging in, dashboard navigation, reports and letters. On the individual side, we're going to touch base on quoting, the application enrollment process if you're going either direct or setting up something to move on over to the marketplace for the actual application, terminating policies, making changes, uploading documents, and communication preferences. On the small group side, Megan's going to touch base on quoting and the application enrollment process. And then from a payment standpoint, Megan's also going to touch base on viewing an invoice, viewing the payment history, ID cards, either getting temporary or reordering them, which is a nice new functionality for you, making one-time payments, and also touching base on recurring payments. So the new JET Insure administrative system for Common Ground will be going live 1 week from today, Friday, May 8th. So broker access to online insight, or as you better know it, the broker portal, will be disabled at the end of business day on 5/7/2020, so next Thursday. What we are going to be doing is at the morning of Friday, May 8th, we will be sending all brokers a link. And that link will allow you to log into the new system. You're going to be using your current username and password that you use now to get into the broker portal. If you don't have one, you're going to have to set one up. If you're currently set up and you log in, it's going to ask you 2 security questions. And you just have to go through that process like you do anytime you set up a new account or log into a new system. And that will then give you access to your information, your client base, your member base that you have with Common Ground. So one key thing we want to keep in mind is that members who are currently have a payment portal account, they're going to be sent a link on 5/8/2020 to set up a new password for the JET system billing portal. Okay. Now, when it comes to recurring payment, we have a lot of folks that are set up on recurring payments. A lot of your clients are. So most recurring payment profiles will be transferred from Online Insight or the current portal to JET Insure. So many of these members will not need to be re-entered by the member. Okay. There are some recurring payment profiles, however, that will fall off in our data migration, and that's due to the compliance and security measures that we're implementing on the new system at this time. So those individuals will be contacted by us and advised of the situation. We'll also, for any of your clients that are in that mix that are going to have to go in and reset, we will send you a list so that if they need assistance, you can be there to help them out. And that will be able to help them out to reestablish their recurring or automatic payments. Okay. And even after the transition, whether they're going to be automatically moved over or you're going to have to help them set up or reestablish their accounts if they reach out to you, it's always a good idea to go back in and double check to make sure that everything is set up properly and operating smoothly. So quoting and new application submissions versus Online Insight or the broker portal actually turned off yesterday. So if anybody had gone onto the system yesterday, you would have seen that a lot of the functionality has been turned off, and that's required as we're doing all the data migration between now and the end of next week to get everything live for you on Friday, May 8th. One thing you can still do on a direct basis, if you have any clients with an SEP coming off of group insurance or any other type of qualifying event, you can send in applications on a paper basis or a PDF basis. Many of you have done that. If you haven't in the past, please feel free to reach out to the sales team, and we'll be more than happy to help you go through that process. So what we're going to be showing this morning is our interactive portal training examples. Again, as I mentioned before, keep in mind this is a test portal. So we're using fake broker, fake member group information, and any type of personal health information that might have been on a setup account is obviously redacted. So we created this interactive training with as much real-time resemblance as possible with test information. So basically, we're kind of taking a test drive for you so you can get a peek at what it's going to look like next Friday. Once you get in there next Friday morning or whenever you have the opportunity to do so, it's going to be a much smoother experience for you. There'll be a much more data populated, especially relative to your book of business with Common Ground. So if you have any questions, after the presentation today or once we go live next Friday, and obviously afterward, we're here to support you. So you can send us emails at the sales inbox, which is sales@commongroundhealthcare.org. Otherwise, you can call the broker hotline, and that's 888-870-4717. So in addition to the training material that is out there on the Common Ground website on the broker portal, and the most frequently asked questions that we'll put together for you and put those out there also. And also the actual training webinars that we're going to put out there. Obviously, we're going to be available for you once this goes live and afterwards to make sure everybody is comfortable getting logged on, kind of working through the system, accessing the information they need to you know, support your practice and obviously service your clients and members. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tell you what it's going to look like when you log in next Friday morning. So this will be, I guess, your initial home page or your login page, if you will. Looks very similar to what you have now in the current broker system. So when we send you the link, you're going to use your username, you're going to use your password, and you're going to sign in. Okay, and as I said, you're going to probably have 2 security questions you've got to knock out, and once that's done, you will have access to your system. So this is going to be your home page. This is going to be your landing page, if you will. So it does look different, but it looks different for a good reason. There's a lot more functionality in the new system for you as an agent to not only do business with Common Ground, but also to service your clients. So we'll take a look at the left-hand side, and that's kind of your functionality side. So the first thing we're going to look at is under My Work. We're going to look at letters, which is the third from the bottom down. Take a look at that. And so you click on letters, and we're not going to go any specific policy name, but you could. We're just going to go to the last category there and click on all. Okay. So if you look at the fourth, one, let's see here. Go back up. I think it's the fourth or the fifth one down. You're going to see the grace period. Okay. So if you click on that and then click search, what it will do is it will show you all of your clients that are in a grace period. So what we're currently doing on Common Ground is that each month we, and it's a very manual, labor-intensive process, we put together an email, we send it encrypted. It has an Excel formatted data load that tells you which your clients are currently in grace, okay? Going forward, we will not be sending out that once a month reminder to you, okay? We will still send out letters, grace letters to your clients. We still take care of that. But on the new system, when you click on grace letters, any of your clients that are in grace, their information will come up. So currently, when a grace letter is sent out, you aren't copied. What will happen in JET Insure is that you'll be able to go into your broker portal and bring up all of your clients that are in grace. And the nice thing is that there's a link that you can open up and upload and see copies of all of the grace letters for all of your clients that have been submitted. And so, you know, some of you now will contact the sales area, and if you're trying to help a client through the payment process, you may look or want a copy of this, and we'll send it out to you. We will still send the grace letters out to your clients and the members. But what's nice about the new system is that you can actually go and now pull up the actual copy of the grace letter that goes out to your clients. So we think that's a really nice functionality. I think it's going to save you emails and phone calls to Common Ground so that you can, again, better run your business and service your clients. The next one we're going to click on under My Work is letters. And that's the third from the bottom down. And again, because this is a test environment, we don't have anything loaded out there. But if you look at, and there's a handful of them, you're probably going to touch base on the analytical reports the most often. So you're going to take a look at member coverage details, a member details report. Again, it's going to give you detail on your client's policy and the profile that's set up. Okay, you can do that on the individual and the group side. Obviously, most of you are going to have the bulk of your business is going to be with Common Ground on the individual side, whether on the marketplace or direct. But we also have quite a few brokers out there that do group business with us. And so, again, once this goes live next Friday, in addition to the individual, you'll be able to go out there and take a look at your group accounts in much greater detail than you do now. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the home page or landing page, if you will, and we're going to look at the account section on the left-hand side, and let's just take a look at policies. Okay, so you open up policies, you go to the top. We're asking for products, and you're going to want to click on individual products again, individual or family health plans, and click search. All right. So again, these are just test profiles. So right now we have 3 of them in there. So these would be when you go into your broker portal, whether you have 3 or you've got 200 clients or 300 or 400 clients with Common Ground, they will all show up there as policies in that category for you. And if we go on back to the account area again. All right, so we can click on my quotes. All right, and we're going to look at individual again. And so this is going to be an archived history. And you click search, an archived history of all the quotes you've run for Common Ground business. So again, it's something that's currently out there on the current broker portal. And again, this is going to be available for you on the new JET Insure system. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of take you through the process of doing a new quote on the system. So we got to kind of just stay on that page or get a quote. So we're going to get a quote, individual and family policies. All right. So it's going to look a little different, but from a functionality standpoint, basically the same kind of steps you're using now if you're doing a quote on the Common Ground website. So Gabby's just going to key in some information on a sample live quote that we're going to do. So we've got a female, date of birth of 10/10 of 1980, non-smoker, zip code at 53214, email address. You can put it in here, or down the road, you're going to have to put it in email. Either they have a function in email, or you'll have to set up an email for them, whether or not they utilize it. Okay. So between now and obviously open enrollment starting in November, everything coming in is going to be an SEP, right? Okay, so we're going to ask for the qualifying event, and we're going to touch on loss of employer-sponsored group coverage. Again, that's the one we most often see right now, so that's the one we're picking. And when you click on that, a reminder is going to come up that in addition to the application information, you're going to have to supply documentation regarding the qualifying life event for the SEP, all right? So we currently still do that on the current broker portal, and that's just a reminder that pops up this time kind of earlier in the process for you to let you know that that information is going to have to be provided. And then when it comes to SEP documentation for Common Ground, there's really 4 key things that the enrollment and billing department is looking for. They're looking for recent or current documentation. They want to know, let's say they're coming off of a group plan, who is currently on that group plan, when is it terminating, and why is it terminating. So those are the 4 key things that we're really looking for as far as having the proper documentation submitted to us for review in addition to the application on an SEP application. So we're going to say that this individual, the event date is 5/31/2020, so they know they're losing coverage on 5/31, and so that's going to move them over to a 6/1 effective date. Okay, and we're just going to do a direct quote this time. So we've got all the data keyed in there. We're going to click on Get Quote, bottom left-hand corner. All right. So just like it does now, it brings up all the plans that are available to this individual or family. Okay. And one of the things you can do, and let's say they're kind of in the initial review process. If you wanted to, you could click on 3 different plans. And Gabby's just going to pick 3 of them here for us. All right. And you click on those and you click on compare. And it's going to bring up a page that compares each of those plans side by side with all the features on the plan. And you can do a variety of things with those. You can save it. You can save it as a PDF. You can email it out to your client. You can download the information. So again, more functionality on the new system coming next Friday than you currently have. So hopefully that's going to be beneficial to you as you're in the initial stages of working with your client or a member to get set up on a plan. So let's go on back. Let's go on back to the prior screen. Okay, so Gabby, pick a plan we're going to enroll in. All right, we're going to go with the Silver 6500/75, very popular plan on a direct basis. We're going to click on enroll in this plan. And again, all the detail comes up, and you're going to go and enroll in this plan again and click on that button. Okay, and again, it gives you a quick overview. And are we working with an agent? So you're going to want to, that's clicked yes. So obviously, if it's on your portal, that information is going to be provided. So we're going to go to the bottom right-hand corner and click on next. All right, so we're going to want to register the client. So Gabby's going to put in the name of your client and the email address. And again, we are going to require an email address. It can be an operating functioning one, or you can set one up for them, whether or not they use it. But they have to, if you do set one up for them, they have to be unique. You cannot use a static substitute email for clients when you're setting this up. So we put in the email address, we retyped it to confirm it, and we're going to click submit. So we just touch on the submit button, okay? And then again, this is very similar to what you see now if you do a direct application online. You've got your client name, you've got the date of birth, you're going to have to pop in the social security number. We're going to click on marital status, and then the same three questions that are currently asked are provided on this screen. So we want to know whether or not they use tobacco, if they or any family members that are applying are going to have other insurance when this one becomes effective, which is usually no, and whether the applicant is legally disabled. So we're going to click no on all of those, all right? So now we go down to the address information. So most often the physical and the mailing address are the same. Sometimes they're different, but we're going to assume that they're the same. They're the same in this example. So we're going to click on the box next to physical, and what comes up is that we've got to load in. You got to key in the street address, the state, the zip, and the city. And so Gabby's in the process of putting that in for us. And again, this is just sample information. And once it's all done, you're going to click on verify. The box is going to come up just like it does now, clicking to confirm that, hey, this is the correct address. And so that's all teed up there. And so that's correct. And the mailing address is going to be the same as the physical. So we're just going to go to the right-hand side there where Gabby has the cursor. We're going to click on that. And so that self-populates. Okay, so now we know the physical and the mailing address is the same. And then from a phone number standpoint, we're going to want to put the preferred phone. A lot of folks now have cell phones. A lot of them, some of them still have landlines. You could put a primary and a secondary in there. Communication email, again, that is populated in there. Just kind of look at the screen, make sure everything is to your liking, and then click on next. If you wanted to, you could save and finish it later. But if you're just trying to knock it out, you're just going to click on next. And so the next thing that comes up is supporting documentation. So in that box on the top, it's a pretty large box, but the actual information you put in there is probably going to be minimal. And in this situation, the reason we're providing supporting documentation is that your client is losing group coverage. So you'd want to type that in there. Yep, so they're losing coverage at the end of this month, 5/31. If you go down to the document required box below, it says basically the same thing. And then the documentation that you would upload for the application, you're probably going to have scanned it and saved it to computer. And again, it's going to be that documentation that indicates a recent document. It indicates who's on the current plan, why they're losing it, and when they're losing it. And you're going to upload that. And you can, that's currently the process you do on the current broker portal with Common Ground. Again, that's going to be replicated here. So we're going to select that, and then we're going to click next. One of the questions that's come up on the past webinars is that, okay, if for some reason, and this does happen obviously, is that if I'm going through the application and my client is still waiting on that documentation. Can I proceed with the application? And the answer is yes. I mean, best case scenario is that you already have it, you're good to go. But as you know, sometimes you got to wait. The employer's not getting it to them. They're waiting for something from the insurance company, or they're applying and their spouse has got to get it. Whatever the reason is, if you don't have it from the get-go, the day you're doing the application, you do have some time to retrieve that, even though you're kind of moving through the application process online. Okay. So now we're looking at the application summary, and so we've got the premium, we've got the plan, and now from an agent perspective, you're going to want to click on the agent sales enrollment button, and here's where you're putting in your information, same as you currently do on the Common Ground website now. So we're putting in the name, the last name, your NPN number, and we're clicking on I agree. You're also clicking on that acknowledgement box, kind of in the middle of the page on the left-hand side, that you understand that by checking here, you're confirming that you're communicating the terms of confidentiality with the client. And then you click on agree. And then the next thing you want to do is going to click on that box right before the agent/sales enrollment header. And basically you're saying, I've completed the information on behalf of the applicant and attest to its accuracy. So again, if you're not meeting face-to-face and you're not taking a wet signature, this allows you to do the whole process electronically, obviously speeding everything up and making hopefully life simpler for you and your client. The other nice thing on the JET Insure portal that you're going to see is that you can pick what the communication preferences are going to be for your client. So it can be email, it can be paper, it can be a combination of both. So you can set that up from the get-go when you're setting everything up from an application standpoint. So in this particular situation, you know, Gabby's indicated that on this application, they want their invoices to come to them via email, but they want any letters and any plan documents afterwards to come to them via mail. They just want to kind of split it up, and that's their prerogative, okay? So that's all set up, and we're going to click submit. Okay, and basically says the application is completed, your coverage will not start until your application is approved and your payment is received. And you click on OK. And that's going to submit it to our enrollment and billing department, and then you and your client will get a confirmation once that's approved. And just as it is currently, I mean, everything is teed up. It's in the system. It's saying that we're looking for a 6/1 effective date. As you know, what actually activates the coverage is going to be that first initial or binder payment, and that also then gets the process going for the ID cards and the member guides. And so until that first payment comes in, nothing else gets rolling on the back end after it's approved. So that's kind of the enrollment process. We wanted to make you aware of that. So we talked about that. We talked about uploading documents. We're going to touch base real quick on making changes. As we go into this, though, be aware that, again, this is a test environment. We're going to show you how to get there, but it's not actually going to process the changes through because, again, we're kind of taking a test drive here. So what Gabby did is she clicked on policies, all right, and she's going to look at individual policies. Again, that's going to be the primary book of business for most of the folks, and we're going to click on plan type, which is we're going to do off exchange here. Okay. Keep in mind that any changes to the profile of your client, your member, once they're set up with Common Ground, you'll be able to do this if they're on a direct basis with us. Okay. If the application resides on the marketplace or healthcare.gov, whether or not they have a tax credit, we as the carrier are not allowed to adjust any profile information unless we get updates from the marketplace to do so. So if anything needs to be updated, a date of birth, a zip code, the spelling of a name, maybe an address, whatever it is, that has to be done through healthcare.gov as it currently is, and either the client or member or you, if you have authority on their behalf, have to go out there and make that adjustment. Once that's done, the marketplace will resend an updated electronic file to us. We'll get that teed up on our end, and then going down the road, our information matches exactly to what the marketplace has. So as we go through this and make any adjustments, it's going to be based on a policy that's been set up on a direct basis with Common Ground. So it's an off-exchange one, and Gabby's going to go down, pick one of the clients, whatever one you want. So we're going to take a look at Marty Bird, all right? And so we're going to go all the way down to the bottom of the screen, and we're going to click on View Details, all right? So you kind of have to navigate a little bit down there. So what's nice about this, you look at the enrollment summary for Marty, it's going to tell you what the effective date is. It's going to tell you what the plan cost is. I mean, this is on a direct basis, obviously, and we already have some money applied to him, so he's paid through 6/30. In this particular situation, it's on a direct policy, so there's no tax credit or APTC involved. All right, so that information is kind of on the summary section. But let's say we want to change something for Marty Bird. So Gabby's going to click on Marty's name. And then what comes up is his personal information. And for an example, if we wanted to change his date of birth, you would go up there, and instead of 1/2 of 1980, let's say it's 1/5 of 1980. For whatever reason, the wrong one was put in there. Either he gave it to you wrong or whatever. So if you go in there and click on that, what you want to do then is make an adjustment, okay? And you want to change the adjustments, okay? And you want to look to change reason. So we're going to change that demographic date of birth, and we're going to put in the event date, and then you would click submit. So it's not gonna process through because we're in a test environment. But again, on a direct enrollment basis, if you needed to change anything in the client profile, this is kind of the process you go to do it. All right. So let's go back then. And the other thing we're going to take a look at is we're going to search individual policies again. All right. And we're going to look at Walter White. Okay. And again, if for some reason a direct policy needs to be terminated, you can do this online also. So we're going to go all the way down again to the View Details. And there's a button in there that says Terminate Policy. Okay. Now, these are again, test environment things, so it's not going to actually process through. But you clicked on Terminate Policy. We're going to say, okay, they have other coverage. The termination date is going to be whatever the date is that you pop in there. And then you're going to click on Terminate Policy. And then that request will be submitted to the Enrollment and Billing Department for processing. Again, we're looking at a test mock environment here, so it's not going to move all the way through. But once your portal is activated next Friday, and this again applies only on direct plans. Again, anything that originates on the marketplace, we don't have the authority as the insurer to terminate it on our end or on the website. That's got to be done at healthcare.gov on the marketplace. They have to send us an up-to-date file to get that keyed up. So with that, I think we've covered pretty much everything on the individual side. And I'm going to turn it over to Megan now, and she's going to touch base on the small group as well as some other kind of niceties and nice functionality that you're going to have available once we go live next Friday. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, so today I'm going to cover doing a small group quote, and then we'll put an application in real quick, and then we'll get on to what you can view in each member's individual profile. And then we'll cover making a one-time payment, setting up reoccurring, and making any changes to a current payment profile. So we're back on our home screen, and we're going to go to Get a Quote. And there's two options here for small group quoting. So the first one is small group quote. The second one is small group proposal. If you're just looking for a quick quote, we recommend doing small group quote. If you click on small group proposal, they're looking for a lot more information. It would be, they're looking for socials, addresses, and if you don't have that information, you're just going to want to pick small group quote to get that going. So just a couple of items that are required for you to keep going. So we're going to need the name of the group. And you'll notice that those are starred. Then we're going to need a zip code. Of course, number of employees. And then you're going to answer, is the company eligible for a small group SHOP program? Now, this is something that you can find on healthcare.gov. It's a one-page questionnaire that you can fill out or the group can fill out to determine if they are or are not SHOP eligible. Either way, you're going to be doing the quoting and enrollment process with us. So once you have that answered, then all we really need is the coverage type and dates of birth to keep moving. All right, once you have that information entered, you're going to click on Get Quote. And then this looks very similar to the individual side. So all the plans that you can pick from, you can select a couple of them, and then we're going to scroll down to the bottom. And click on Select Plans. And then that'll bring you to a bigger description of the plans that you just selected. So from here, you can continue to pick all three, two, or one of them. And then you'll see at the bottom the functionality. So you can save the quote right into your profile. You can email a PDF, download, or if you're confident at this point, you can go right into apply. So what I just want to show you real quick, just a reminder of how to get back to the quote that you just did. So we're going to go back to our home. And then you're going to go under account and click on My Quotes. And then from your product, you're going to pick small group. And then search. And then that's where you would find any small group quotes that you've done. So we're going to go back to the one we just started. Click on View Edit. So one thing I do want to point out at the bottom here is if you ran a quote, sent it out, and then the group did get back to you, and maybe they added or deleted an employee, or they want to see something else, all you have to do to get back and edit that quote is click on Copy Quote, and it'll take you right back to the home screen where you can add or delete any information you just inputted. So we're just going to pretend that this group is ready to apply. So we're going to hit Apply. And then of course, necessary information in here. So we're gonna be looking for the contact name at the employer. And then of course, an email address. And then submit. And then we're gonna go back and grab that proposal. And then we're gonna put in the contact name for the group, a phone number. Your information is already in there, so don't worry about that. And then this again would be a point where you could add or delete an employee. So right here, what you're gonna need to do is enter in first and last name, genders for all of your employees or dependents, and an email. And of course, we'll still, if you have a new group and you want to submit it all by paper, we'll still take that, but this is a really efficient, quick way to get it in yourself. So then we're going to move on to select the plans. And here's your plans. They'll be pre-selected from the ones you picked in the quote, so you can either switch it up here or keep the same ones. You're going to scroll down to the bottom, generate that proposal. And then here's your plan detail and another place where you can keep them or drop one off. Then we're going to click on accept. And this is where it's letting you know your application is 0% completed. So we're going to hit continue to keep going. So here we're going to put in the tax ID number. So this is all the information that would be on the employer application. Years in business and then type of ownership. And here's where you're going to put in the address of the company. So you can see it does give you options to put in different addresses for billing, mailing, or doing business as. So we'll enter in the corporate address. If everything is the same, you just check all the boxes for the other categories. Sometimes that little portion, when you enter an address, will come up and say it's invalid. All you have to do is click on that bypass button and it'll let you keep going. All right, and then you just have to complete information. So you have your admin information in there, and then you would fill in the billing information. Sometimes it's a different person at the company, and sometimes it's the same. And we're going to hit next. Okay, and then just a couple of questions about the employer coverage. And hit next. And this is very similar to our current system, is where if you miss something or you're not putting in the required information, the system won't allow you to advance. It'll show you what you're missing and keep you on the right track. So here we're going to answer questions about the employer contribution and eligibility. And then we're going to do the contribution percentage. So that's already set as a percentage. Just type in the numbers. And then the enrollment period. So this is going to be a 6/1 effective date. So we would cut that off usually at 5/15. And then the domestic partner question. Once you're done with that, you can click on next. And here's where you would fill in the waiting period. And then next. Okay, so here's your employees that are applying. You want to check them all off that they're good to go and hit next. And this is where you would input any documentation. So you can put in your wage and tax, employer, employee applications, and waivers. You can hit next. All right, and then we're at communication preferences. So you can pick how they want to receive invoices, any letters and plan documents. And then you as the agent are doing this, so you would confirm that all the information is correct and accurate. Click on that little agent box, and then you just fill in your name and your NPN. And then save. And then we're going to submit. So that would be your small group application. So now it would be transferred over to enrollment. Once enrollment has approved it, what you would see is if you go back to your home screen, that group's status would switch over to find one. We should have one, yeah, start benefit election. So that's your last step in your small group application. So we're going to click on View Edit. And here's all your group information. We're going to launch the application. There's your employees that are enrolling. We're going to hit Continue. And you can pick the plan from the drop down for each employee. And then we're going to submit. So that would complete the small group application. From there, you would receive an email and you'd be able to assist the group in making that first binder payment. So that is what a small group quote, small group application looks like. Now we're going to go back to the home screen and we're going to show you all the functionality you have within a member's individual profile. So to get to your current members, we're going to go under Accounts and go to Policies. And then with Product, you're going to click on Individual. Now you can hit search and bring up all of your people, or you can, type in their name to bring up somebody specific or their member number. So if we click on View Edit for Charlie Harper, and then here's his general information, but to get to the good stuff, we're going to go down to the bottom and click on View Details. Now the first thing I want to point out at the top is it'll show you what this member's effective date is, what their plan they're enrolled in, their monthly premium, and something really nice is it'll also show you their paid through dates. So this member is already paid through June 30th. If we look over to the left under Member Portal, this is all the good stuff. So our favorite part of this, of course, is right to the right, is downloading a temporary ID card. So you just click on that, and then you can send this out right to your member. So this will be available for members who are on and off exchange. And then if we go back, if they do not have one or need another one, you also have the opportunity to order one for them. So you just click on ID card request and the request date, and most likely you're just looking for a duplicate. And then just click on request ID card. The next thing that I want to point out is you do have also have access to view and send them a copy of their summary of benefit coverage, so the SBC or summary of benefits. So you just click on those, it's right there in the system for you. And then most importantly, what we'll talk about now is payments. So the first thing I want to go to is member invoices. So keep in mind, this is a brand new person. So we're only showing one invoice for them, but with your current members, there'll be more data in there for you, and of course throughout the year. So you can click on that invoice number, and it will bring up the exact copy of the invoice that was just sent to your member. Another thing that you have access to is transaction history. So if you click on that, it'll show you their invoice. Another place you can grab the invoice. It'll also show you when they made their first payment and their current balance due. You also have the opportunity to run a report on that. You can export it to an Excel. All right, so next we're going to go to payment options. So for Charlie, if you needed to come in and make a one-time payment, that's the first thing on your screen. You can click on outstanding balance or monthly member responsibility, and then you would go to pay now. And this is where the member information comes up. You would hit next. And then you can enter in, Charlie already has existing information in there, but you can enter in a new card in here. You can still do credit, debit, checking, or savings. So you'd enter all of that information in there and hit next. Confirm that you want to make that payment. And then once you get here, the payment's been made. You do have the option to view the receipt, and you also have the option to email the receipt to your client. So the next option down would be your reoccurring. So Charlie already has one set up. He has a draft date of the 25th, so you can pick that from your little calendar below, still between the 15th and the 25th. So let's say we needed to set one up for Charlie. You would just click on step 1. And this is where you could either set one up or you can edit the current payment that's already in there. So he does have a payment profile set up, but you can see right where that little pencil is. That's where you can, add a new one or get rid of one. So that would be your review, and then you can confirm, and his automatic payment has been set up. Now, as Jim mentioned, your current clients that are already set up on reoccurring, this information should already be in the system. So that is, something if we do recommend your member go and just make sure that it's all out there and correct, but that will transfer over and look just like this. So the only other thing I would show you in reoccurring payments is once it's been established, there is an option to go in there and just turn it off. So once you bring it up, if you need to turn off that payment, you would just click on cancel and confirm. So that is all of your payment information. So one-time reoccurring, stopping the reoccurring, and also being able to edit. And that is actually what we wanted to show you guys today. So as Jim mentioned, we're going to collect all of the Q&A questions from our webinars. A recorded version of the webinar will also be available on the broker portal. If you have any questions in between now and next Friday, please reach out to the broker line or the sales box. And of course, we will be logged in and ready to go next Friday for any of your questions. So thank you guys so much for joining us this morning, and have a good weekend.